The biggest mistake I made in my business was not hiring a professional to help me with my money. Not just my taxes, but the actual plan I had for my business. I was completely lost on how to handle taxes, what to do with profit, and how to maintain my income. I had to find a better way. That's when I found Core Financial. Core Financial is a team of tax professionals that actually care about building real relationships with their clients. They run my books, keep me up to date with my finances, and make sure I'm taking full advantage of all of my tax benefits. Are you struggling with your finances? Look no further. Core Financial is a brand that is nationwide that can help you with your business. Both Nick and I are huge fans of Core, and they can help you too. Check out howtofilmweddings.com/core to schedule a consultation today. Core Financial, real relationships, no surprises. Hello and welcome to How to Film Weddings. My name is John Bunn. I'm joined in person today with my best good buddy, Mr. Nick Miller. He's in the flesh.
You're
see
touching
him.
me.
I'm touching you.
On the shoulder.
On the shoulder.
Yes.
Little social distance. But we're in Denver, Colorado. We're sitting on a rooftop. The wind is blowing, so if you hear a little rustle or a motorcycle
Or
in
a
the background,
helicopter.
whatever.
That's cool.
But we're here. Nick, it's good to see you as always. It's a big day.
It is. It is. We are currently recording this. We are at Venture.
Yes, we
in
are.
Denver, Colorado, with about 50 of our closest wedding filmmaking friends. It's been a great couple of days here. We're currently in session 1. Tomorrow session 2 starts. It's been great, but we have a fun guest with us.
He's
someone
more
that
than
I've
fun.
known.
He's special.
He's very special guest. Someone I have known for a few years who mentored me and helped me a lot in my business, and that is Mr. David Reynosa of Forestry Films. David, so glad to have you on. How are you doing today?
It's so awesome to be here. This is, we've done other podcasts over Zoom, but there's just something special about being able to be here with you guys. This is amazing. Yeah, I love it. So what are we chatting about today?
I love it. It's fun because when you're online, you can, it's like there's a little bit of buffer. It's fine. Well, we're here. You're teaching. You're known for your incredible branding, your incredible films, forestry films, that sort of thing. And we wanted to just kind of dive in a little deeper some of the content that you're teaching here, but you kill it when it comes to your business, your branding. And I personally think it'd be really cool just to kind of dive more into your journey to get here. I think that's inspiring for people. And so, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point today, is to kind of hear about your journey and building your brand and building your business to inspire our listeners. So why don't you kind of start and give us just a little bit of the history of that?
So I don't know. You know this. I don't know if you know this. So I started out in magic.
Oh, I know.
Okay, you know. Yes. Okay, yeah. So street magician, and my parents were just those parents who, hey, you have a dream, honey? Chase after it. And so that was cool. They're like, hey, you want to do magic? We're going to get you Final Cut and iMac. And this was Final Cut, like box set.
Oh, yeah.
So all night loading in color, DVD studio, motion.
Bringing back all the feels. I just
know.
remember watching it like load in and being like, I'm going to be so
someday.
professional.
I mean, filmmakers don't know how good they have it now. I'm like an old man. They don't know how good they have it to download Final Cut. Like I say, I still have those discs because I don't know if I'm going to have to resurrect a project from an old iMac. Anyways, so started out in magic, and I was super awkward kid. Junior higher, I wanted to do magic. I had braces. My mom came with me to the downtown area of our community and was like, Mom, I really don't want you here. She's like, I'll just hang back. I'll just hang back, would walk up to people, want to see a magic trick, and I would film it. Super entrepreneurial at a young age, and started a magic business called Shattered Logic.
That's nice.
I like
that. That's a name for you. That's good. That's good.
It's just because people's minds blown and.
Oh, we get it.
Yeah, okay, good. I just, it's complicated. Want to make sure it hit.
How old are you at this point?
I am older.
Junior high? Yeah.
16.
Guys, this was a couple of years ago, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like 10 or 12 years
So
ago.
anyways, if you want, you go to YouTube, and you might be able to find some stuff. I'll just leave it at that. Detective work later.
Oh, man.
And so
Shattered.
Yeah, Shattered Logic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so I was just like, you know what? I had a lot of fun, just more so making the videos and the movies. And I was like, the real magic is here in a kind of cheesy way. And then I started doing way more film stuff. I did a film class in high school, and then there was a bunch of kind of contests for commercials. So, you know, big brands like Doritos or Pringles or Cheez-Its would say, hey, we don't want to pay a big marketing company a bunch of money. We're just going to put together a $5,000 pool to see if any high schoolers will make ads for us. So that's kind of what I started doing, is just little ads. And that's what I wanted to do for the longest time, was funny Super Bowl type comedic ads. And I actually won one contest for Pringles, and the ad aired in Israel. So, and I was in it.
That's awesome.
So I'm kind of like semi-king of the Jews for like a month. It was kind of... Am I not allowed to say something? I don't know. That was a little...
You said it, not me.
Okay,
So.
joke.
Semi-king of the Jews.
Semi-king, no.
Sorry, Jesus.
Sorry, yeah, that was... No.
Oh, God.
Well known among the Jews. Anyways, that's what I thought I wanted to do, was advertisement. And that's what I went to school for. I went to Biola, did film school, and I wanted to write funny comedic ads. But I just kind of got disillusioned with the whole... like being on set, getting up really early in the morning, and kind of having all these layers of director, producer, set designer. It was kind of just exhausting. Mm-hmm. And I remember I just kind of need money. I want to upgrade my camera. And a buddy of mine in college was shooting 300 weddings a year, and he just needed another lead shooter. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, sure, I'll shoot it. And I got wedding after wedding, did them all in slow motion. That was the style. Slow motion, the whole thing, no audio, no anything, and just used all that money to buy my camera equipment. But man, I had a business on the side doing weddings, but it sucked. Like, I remember hearing that it was a good idea to do phone calls with brides. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to do my first phone call. I'm going to hit this out of the park. And I thought it was my job to kind of convince the bride to book with me. So it goes to the end of the call, and she's like, you know, I know you said it was 2,500, but I was really hoping that we could do 1,000. And I would also like, you know, just stop me if this is too much, but I'd really like to have a doc edit, full ceremony and toast, raw footage. We also, you know, I know you said 9 hours, but can we just do unlimited? It just seems fair, you know, like it'd be easier on us if you could just give us more time. And I'm just like, yeah, that sounds great. That's where, you know, send the check. And that was like my first couple years of business, just giving people absolutely everything, because I was scared. I didn't know how to command my worth or my value. And it kind of got to the point, a couple years in, I had spun my wheels so freaking much and worked so hard, and I was so burnt out, and I was still stuck charging $1,500, $2,000, giving away pretty much everything, getting just thrown aside, just another vendor at the day. Mm. And so I was kind of like, I have to kind of figure out, is there a proper way to run your business? Like, is there actually a way to do this? Because I can make art, but that doesn't pay the bills. So I remember I'm kind of an obsessive personality where I get into something, I really get into it. And I found out there's like this whole business world out there where, oh my gosh, people write books on business. There's podcasts on business. Like, there's people that actually share this stuff. And I just nerded out for like years and years. And John would know this since you love like business stuff. Uh-huh. It's entertaining. It's like, oh my gosh, the whole world is just opening up. And then I realized, okay, there's actually a way to structure a business, and it's all focused on serving people. And for the longest time, my business was just, I show up and I make cool art, but that doesn't get very far. And I came to realize that every successful business starts with the first question of, hey, what problem does a community have, and how are they not being served right now with that problem? Mm-hmm. And it was like a duh moment, because as a Christian, I'm just kind of like, oh, love your neighbor as yourself. Like, that's just, it's so simple. but at the same time so complicated, because I feel like as wedding filmmakers, we go to these workshops or we, just consume all this information and it seems so difficult. But at the end of the day, it just starts with, you see a group of people, they have a problem, hunker down and just for weeks figure out how you can solve that. And as I started to change my business into more of a kind of like a doctor mentality where someone's coming to me and I'm like, hey, instead of just saying, here's some medicine, let me sit with you for an hour and figure out what you actually need. That's when the whole brand of forestry really started to take shape. And instead of making brand decisions based on, hey, what's cool or trendy right now, I would make decisions based on the community that has a problem, what do they value? And how do I communicate that value through font, through colors, through the movement in my films, through the pacing of my films, through even how I present myself as the leader of that brand and as how I infuse my personality in it. And it then created such a different vibe from those $1,000 days to where when I showed up on a wedding day, it was like, this is not just the filmmaker I hired, but this is the experience of the brand that I hired who's going to take care of me and allow me as a bride or me as a groom to present my best self to my story, to be the hero of my own story, rather than I feel like where I was before is, hey, I want to be this big brand. I kind of want to be the hero of my story. And if you give me money, that's great. But kind of switching that whole mentality allowed the business to grow really in service to other people. Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys out there know, but David has a good little gig over there at Forestry, and really recognizable, running a really solid, really smooth business. And I think that one of the ways that why you have such a nice business now is you worked for so long and you did stuff wrong for so long. So you corrected that, and now you're able to like speak and teach and help others, because you made all those mistakes, which is, one of the big reasons that John and I are doing this. We want to elevate the wedding filmmaking industry, and the way that we know that we can do that is, hey, this is what we did, this is where me messed up, and we know that you can get better. I'm really enjoying having this conversation with David, and we are going to continue that right after this break.
Are you tired of just sending a link to your couples when you are done with their film? Do you want to deliver something they can actually see and feel? Something physical? We are so excited to tell you about Photo Flash Drive. Photo Flash Drive's customizable hard drive and solid state drives give your client a peace of mind. Take your delivery experience to the next level with your couples. Photo Flash Drive uses state-of-the-art Seagate drives that are 100% customizable. PFD has the ability to print your logo, your couple's names, or both on the drive. You guys, we picked up a few of these and they are so good. We cannot wait to blow our clients away with this next level physical product. Not only can you customize these drives, Photo Flash Drive offers high quality, customizable boxes that you can brand with your logo to really blow your couples away. My favorite is the rustic slide box that has our logo engraved on the cover. Having a high quality product like this is something that has been definitely lacking in my business. The custom hard drives and solid state drives with cases are a great way to sell additional items to your couple, a great way to offer a full branding experience, and a great way to leave an impression. And today we have a deal for you. Use promo code HTFW15 for 15% off all hard drives, solid state drives, and cases. Head over to howtofilmweddings.com/photoflashdrive to see all the details.
All right, so now we are back from break. We're still with David. He didn't go anywhere. He didn't leave.
He's still here. Don't freak out.
He's still here. He's still here. So, you shared a lot about, your journey and, with business and branding and stuff. But let's keep pushing about that. Let's keep digging a little bit deeper with that. So, whenever you started, with your brand and your business and really messing with fonts and messing with your design and your logo and your feel and all that stuff, like when did stuff really change, I guess? Like, was it overnight? Did it take you quite a while? Like, what was that like?
Well, I wish I could throw up the logo. The first company I ever had was Love Shot Productions, complete with a teal heart, and then there was a nice little red heart in between. My website had music playing in the background. Oh yeah. Background was all burlap. Oh. And I was so proud. it was my little baby, and I just couldn't fathom why people wouldn't book me. It was a special time. And so I had that, and it just came to the point where I was so ashamed of it that I had to like choose something else. So it wasn't this whole like, oh my gosh, my whole head's been open to branding. It was just, I knew it was bad, and I knew I needed something different. It wasn't until forestry came up with the idea of forestry mainly off of, hey, there's couples that want adventurous weddings in the woods. So I'm like, okay, let's just go full on into that and call the brand Forestry. But as I started to really look more into like Apple and different clothing brands, I realized how intentional they were with fonts and colors and things like that. And I remember reading a couple books, watching a couple branding talks, and watching or hearing someone just talk about they would think for hours and hours just about how the color would elicit a certain emotion or a certain thing. And I'm like, how do wedding filmmakers, we don't think like this. We just kind of like, oh, I think the color's cool and the font's fine. And so a lot of it was just looking at other brands and seeing, okay, there's so much intention behind everything. I'm going to do the same thing with wedding filmmaking. But I think really like I'm the most happy with the brand now just within the last 6 or 7 months. And that's come when I fully said, I'm not, like I love branding. I think it's really rad, but I'm not like a graphic designer. I'm passionate about it. And it wasn't until we hired a creative director who I looked at his stuff and the work that he's done, and I knew he was better. And it was hard as a business owner because I knew our brand wasn't where it was supposed to be. And as a 3 on the Enneagram, I'm all about, I want to present the best way. Reaching out for help is kind of seen as, oh, I'm failing, and that just doesn't feel good. And so I actually put it off for a while hiring him because I was so prideful of like, I don't want someone to come in and like change everything up. And it wasn't until he actually came to me and was like, hey, I see a lot of areas where we can do some really cool stuff. I see where the business is heading. I'd love to be involved. Like I didn't even reach out to him. And that was just a big aha moment. And it was so cool because it showed me that, hey, this whole thing that we're doing is all about relationship with other people inside of a company. That's what makes companies so awesome, is kind of relationship. And so when he came in the most loving way possible, he just sit down with our brand and was like, hey, I see you're trying to reach this market, but what you're actually doing is pushing more here. And he did that with our work, with our fonts, with our logos, with our colors. And he sat down for months and just reworked every part of our brand. And he sat with me and he's like, David, okay, who do you want to reach? How do you think this, like, tell me, just articulate everything and I'll put it into a brand. So my encouragement to people would be, hey, if there's someone who's better than you, like go to them and say, just be honest with me and don't put up any defenses and just do what they tell you to do. Mm-hmm. If they're better than you and you want to be where they're at. And it's been one of the best decisions we've made in our business in a long time. And we've moved faster and further in terms of style and branding just by hiring them on and just saying, rip it to shreds. And because we want to be to that next level.
Yeah, that's super rad. And like, as I've watched you, like you have done such a good job of continuing to grow your brand and like change and adapt as you change as an artist. I think so many people will see where people are today and not realize the journey it took to get there, or like what all needed to change over time. And I would just say to the listeners out there, like embracing that journey and being okay with you changing as a person and being able to pivot. But like, if there is something you need to do next to take that next step on the journey, that's what you need to be doing. And like not comparing yourself to David or Nick or myself, but instead, like you said, having somebody look at what you're doing and rip it to shreds, so to speak, but also be tough to be able to say, oh, they're trying to help you. They're trying to, and somebody that is better than you, further along than you, rooftop vibes, motorcycle. Just that whole story, that whole journey is so cool to see, because I've watched you for 6 or 7 years maybe now, like change and grow. And
Been
it's
doing
like
this a while. It's crazy.
Yeah. And it's like, at the beginning, it's like, well, I'm never going to get there, is kind of what you feel like. And it's like, well, I'm new, or I've only been doing this a couple of years, and so many people in this instant pot kind of world, it's just, they don't take into consideration the growth and the transformation that needs to happen in a brand and how important that is. And so, I just wanted to like clarify for people, it's like there is a journey, there is a process. Like, how long have you, like, from like this process, how long has this taken for you?
Well, yeah, someone asked me the other day, like, how long have you been doing this? And I had to think about it because it's been so long. I shot, I think, one of my first weddings in 2007.
Yeah.
2008, so that's almost 12 years. And I remember the first wedding was just a buddy of mine who shot weddings, and he was just like, hey, come haul gear. I'll pay you $150. And I was like, $150? I can haul gear every weekend. I'll be loaded. It's great. And so it's been a whole process. And that's what I tell people at Venture. It's like, hey, you come here, or if you see other filmmakers, it's taken so long. And like, there's seasons where I'm like, I'm not happy with where the brand is or where the work is. And like, I know everyone you look up to, they look up to other people. There's never a point where you get to and you're like, oh, I never don't have someone who I'm comparing myself with, unless you just say, okay, I'm just going to do me. And it's gotten to the point, I feel like the more you lean into your unique style, the less you struggle with comparison.
100%.
Because whenever you're trying to be identical of someone else, it's just like, you're never going to measure up to that. And as I started to be more just, hey, what forestry is, I could look at what White and Reverie does or Matt Johnson and just be like, oh, that's them. That's cool. Because I would never make a film like that.
What we had Ricardo Fasoli on in the 80s episode. And one of the things that he said was, have you ever paid money for a cover band's album?
Mm-hmm.
And I was, that's so good. Cause we're sitting there and, trying to be like Forestry or Redeemed Productions or Wild Oak Films or whoever you film, but the best you can do is be a really good cover band. You can't, and so lean into yourself. But I love that thing that it's so, comparison can be so tricky, but one thing that we have shared before, the listener, if this is your first time hearing this, it's such good. Look where you were a year ago and compare yourself to yourself.
Yeah.
Don't compare yourself to me, compare yourself to yourself. And if you watch your films from today and then you go back and watch your films from a year ago, you're like, holy cow, I am better. I am shooting better. I am coloring better. My audio does sound better. Yes, I could still work on this, but that's where you can really see true growth. And looking back on your business from 5 years, from your heart shop, whatever it was, and you're like, oh, I have come a long way.
Oh, yeah. And comparison's kind of hard because, like, I don't know, I have an interesting perspective on it. Like, I kind of like the whole idea of copying other people for a season, because it's kind of like why some people say go to college, because it allows you to experience a lot of different things, and it's a really expensive experience. But I think so many filmmakers need to take more risks. And if you like someone's style, there is no shame in saying, I'm going to try to do this person's style. Don't try to become that person and try to steal their market, but try it out. Like, try out fine art, try out moody, try out all these different styles, what you're drawn to, because really, at the end of the day, who we are as people is a combination of all our experiences and our preferences. When it comes to art, we look at something and we say, okay, I like that, I don't like that, we take it together. And when you shoot weddings over and over in all these different styles, over time, you're gonna take things from a certain style and from another style and from another style, and then by the end of the day, you'll have your own unique style. And that's kind of how we built our style. I remember still motion back in the day. They were just, I love certain parts about it, and I took it, incorporated that into my work. I love some things that White and Reverie did, Matt Johnson, Eric, all these people. And then your preferences for saying yes and no to certain styles, you look back and you're like, oh, I'm my own unique person. just from kind of copying and leaning into other people.
Yeah, and it all comes down to that journey and submitting yourself to a process that takes time. And that's one of the things that I keep hitting on with this podcast, with people, with mentor sessions and things we're doing, is they're like, well, how do I charge more? How do I, and it's like, well, it's not just change your fonts,
Right.
but at the same time, that plays into it. And there's a lot that goes into it. But the ingredient that most people are trying to figure out is just time. And the time and leaning into yourself growing as a person and realizing I'm not going to be the same this time next year. I want to start reading different kinds of books. I want to start watching different kinds of films. I want to lean into, horror films for a few months, and then I want to lean into romantic comedies or just like documentaries or whatever. Like I'm going to really just look at people, the lighting on their faces in different Netflix shows and soap operas or whatever it is. It's like, and you take that and then you steal certain things that you like, and then it's like you play around with it. The cool part about our industry is, most of us aren't even trying to impress our clients anymore. We're just trying to make sure other wedding filmmakers think that we're awesome.
It's kind of a slippery slope.
And it's like they're going to love it. Like if you've paid attention to them and you've helped tell their story, they're not going to care if their speeches have the shadow side of their face or not, but like that
they'll care.
Yeah, they will, but it's like so there's a buffer. Like it's not like they're comparing their final wedding film to somebody else's wedding film. Like it's their wedding film and they're happy with it. And so there's this playground that you can get to where it's like you can try things, and it might not be something that ends up on your homepage or something like that, but like if you're not taking risks. I remember for so long I tried to be so vanilla, and it was so boring to me. People were happy, but the more I started hearing from people after we started doing our podcast, I was like, man, I'm unique. I want my name on things. I want like
I'm a special snowflake.
I'm a special snowflake. Yes. And so like that whole process and change, and watching other people that I admire like you, or continuing to change in other brands and just updating their feel and their vibe, like the timing aspect, the taking the time to just enjoy that process and continue to push forward. It's like you're walking up a mountain, you just take a slow step at a time. Sooner or later you look back and you're like, wow, I've come a long way. And I think so many people just focus on, well, that peak is up there and I've got to get to it. And so there's a lot that goes in with that. Now I know that there's some really cool stuff that you're doing that's coming up very, very soon, and I want to talk to you guys or to you about that, but we're going to do that after this break. Finding the perfect song for your wedding film can be so frustrating. We spend countless hours searching for the perfect song. When it comes to licensing music, Nick and I both love Musicbed. Not only do they have the best music, but their website makes it so easy to find the perfect song and to find it fast. We have both been using the Musicbed's wedding subscription for years and cannot recommend it enough. Not only are they adding new music from incredible musicians like Chapters, The Light, The Heat, and Tony Anderson all the time, they've made it incredibly easy to search their library for mood, genre, instrumentation, and even key. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed and use promo code HTFW for a free month of a Musicbed wedding subscription. howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed.
And we are back from break, still with
Huzzah.
David. Huzzah, huzzah. And we are going to go ahead and jump into our question of the day presented by Wedditor. Wedditor, more than freelance, more than outsourcing. And so, David, I have a question for you. I think you can answer it pretty well. We've talked about your branding and your journey and becoming a better business and a better brand and all that. Do you know of anything, or do you have anything that could help people get better with that stuff?
Yeah, good question, Nick.
Heat it up for me.
I'm throwing you softballs here, man.
Yeah, here you
throwing
go.
you softballs.
So we have been working on a course. It's called the Profitable Filmmaker. It's how to make $100K a year in any market, location, economy. And really the whole motivation behind this course is, like you heard in the story before, I struggled so much. Like I went through 6 years of just, I think it was around that, of just not really being profitable. And I was learning, it was so hard. I had to read so many books, attend so many workshops, and it's overwhelming. You have branding, you have design, you have SEO, you have marketing, you have sales, you have workflow, and it just goes on and on. That I really wanted to create a resource for filmmakers where it's like, hey, if there was a like college course for how to succeed as a wedding filmmaker, like this would be it. So it's over 30 hours of content. Each of the modules I kind of wanted to make like its own little course. And the whole thing is structured to get you to that goal of 100K a year. So it's not just like, hey, learn a bunch of business techniques. It's this is what the course is going to give you, the step-by-step plan to go from wherever you're at, whatever location, whatever market, and there's going to be modules on branding, on marketing, on design. Our creative director, who literally like changed everything for our brand, I actually brought him in and he did a 3-hour module on branding, on design. And so I want to give that, what I was able to experience for the brand, I want to give that to people. So, because not everyone can afford hiring a creative director. So that's really what it is. And it's a step-by-step plan to bring you to that 100K goal.
Dude. Well, that's great. So on a more practical, like, talking about this new course, I enroll in it. What, I mean, you kind of hit on some of the things, but like, how is it broken up? Is it like 30 straight, like you push play in 30 hours? Like, how do you have it broken up? So
I'm glad you asked that, because getting through, I was like, oh, this is 30 hours. Like that could be either really good or really overwhelming for a lot of people. And I've taken a lot of courses where I've gotten in and it's just so much content that you kind of just dip out and you don't do anything with it. So what I really wanted to do is have some sort of accountability for people and kind of guiding them through. So the minute you get the course, there is a kind of a accountability workbook that you download on your phone, and it takes you through steps. So I kind of bring people through this EARN system, and it's an acronym, and every letter is a set block of weeks. And in each individual letter, you go through either branding or marketing and sales, and it builds to the next pillar and the next pillar. So at every point of the process, you're never like, where am I at in terms of my goal to get to 100K? You always have a anchor point. So you're never like swimming around, and you always have a next step to go within the course.
Yeah, and if I know anything about David and, sitting in lots of your classes at Venture, or, I've purchased your Craft 5K films, it's very palatable, very enjoyable to watch it. The information, I know Nick has done, mentorship sessions with you, and we've learned so much from you. I can only imagine with that much content, like taking your business, I think that the 100K, so many of us, it's like, if we could get to there, like we could do that is our, our mark of success. And like to give them an actionable step-by-step plan to get to that has to be like, I'm sure you're just chomping at the bit to get this thing out.
It's been a process over 3 years to like make it all. And the reason was because I wanted to do it well and really just make sure every module was solid.
Yeah. Nick, go.
And so this is, as the launch of this, I believe it's dropping tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're right around the corner from this launch of your Profitable
Filmmaker.
Filmmaker. And if you would like more information, all you need to do is go to howtofilmweddings.com/forestry. howtofilmweddings.com/forestry. And from there, we will get you the information, the places you need to go so you can learn it. But, check out David, like on his Instagram. Why don't you, plug your Instagram? And I know you're pretty involved over there, every now and then, touching base and
so
sharing
Instagram
info.
Forestry is kind of like the best place to reach me. Do I talk to the camera? Do I do that?
Sure.
Okay.
Which one do you want?
Hey
that
guys,
one,
yeah,
this
yeah.
one, that one?
So Instagram, probably the best place. Or info@forestryfilms.com. But definitely the most active on Instagram. Always doing Instagram lives. I really try to respond to everyone. Also, like, send me your films. I love just people sending clips and things like that to review. Love doing that. And also the course page that when you go to howtofilmweddings/forestry, I'll be on chat pretty much the whole launch of the course. So if you have any questions or something was unclear, hit me up. If you want to just talk weddings and you want to talk, favorite podcasts or whatever, I'll be on chat. So hit me up there, and really excited to just be doing this with you guys and get this course out. It's going to be rad. You guys got to enroll.
Well,
I'm really excited about it. Whenever I heard that you were doing a course, I was like, man, why didn't you do this like 5 years ago, or something like that? Yeah, Anyway, but for any of you that have been in this industry, I mean, forestry has been, I think, one of the staples when it comes to education for so long. I have shared this time and time again on our podcast. I did a mentorship. My wife and I did a mentorship with David, I don't know, 5 years ago, and that's one of the probably 3 things that I look back on over the years that have like drastically improved my business, was because I took that time and that energy to invest in myself and invest, and it has totally changed the direction of our business. So you definitely want to go to howtofilmweddings.com/forestry and check that out. John has something else he wants to add, because he always
Well, here's the thing, we are such big fans of continuing education.
Yep.
And in a world where you can take the 12, 13 years of business knowledge of you, plus, your other partners in this, this course, and you can spend a small amount of money and get all of that knowledge, it does speed up that time portion of what we're talking about. And the difference between you today and a year from now are the people you meet, and then the books you read, the courses that you take, the information that you ingest. And some people are like, well, don't you guys have a course, John and Nick? And it's like, well, yeah, we have a course, but we think that there's no cap to how much information you should be ingesting. If one little nugget from this course can change the trajectory of your business. And so we are always going to be pushing for people that we respect highly in our industry to provide our listeners with the best education, because we know that if you take that step and say, I'm going to purchase this course, I'm going to enroll, that a year from now you're going to be better off for it.
Absolutely. I mean, how many business books do we read of the same thing? And it's just different perspectives, and it's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, David, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Me.
Great to see you. Great to hang out with you. John, it's been good to, do this in person, hang out together. Yeah. So again, what we want you to do right now, before you jump off of here, is head over to howtofilmweddings.com/forestry. Check out David's Profitable Filmmaking. Is that right?
Filmmaker, same thing.
Profitable Filmmaker course. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the podcast. And until next time, we will see you.
See ya.
See ya.